The story of women's boxing is one of resilience, strength, and an unbreakable will to succeed. It is a tale of pioneers who defied expectations, athletes who shattered stereotypes, and champions who continue to push the sport to new heights. While boxing has long been dominated by men, the rise of female fighters has transformed the landscape, proving that the sport belongs to anyone with the heart and skill to step into the ring. In the early days, women who dared to box were met with resistance. Society saw them as outliers, engaging in a sport that was deemed too brutal, too masculine, or simply not suitable for them. Opportunities were scarce, and recognition was almost non-existent. Yet, despite these obstacles, a handful of fearless women refused to be sidelined. They trained in secrecy, fought in underground matches, and, in some cases, were even banned from competing. They didn't just fight opponents in the ring, they fought for the right to be there in the first place. One of the earliest known female boxers was Elizabeth Wilkinson in the 18th century, who challenged opponents to bare knuckle bouts in an era when women weren't even allowed many basic rights. Later, in the 20th century, women like Barbara Buttrick, known as the Mighty Atom, took to the sport, paving the way for future generations. But the road remained treacherous. Women's boxing was not recognized in major sporting events, and those who pursued it often had to do so without support, funding, or even proper coaching. The fight for legitimacy gained momentum in the late 20th century. A turning point came when women's boxing began to gain recognition in amateur competitions. Fighters like Christy Martin brought women's boxing into the mainstream, proving that female boxers could not only compete but also draw audiences. She fought on major cards, gained media attention, and changed the perception of women in the sport. Her fights were explosive, her power undeniable, and her presence undeniable proof that women's boxing deserved a place on the world stage. As the sport gained traction, more women stepped forward, demanding equal opportunities. Layla Ali, daughter of the legendary Muhammad Ali, became one of the most recognizable names in the sport, proving that female fighters had the skill and charisma to rival their male counterparts. Other fighters, like Ann Wolfe, became known for their raw power and fearlessness, inspiring a new generation of athletes to step into the ring. Despite the growing recognition, challenges remained. Many female fighters struggled to find promoters willing to give them opportunities. Pay disparities between male and female boxers were glaring, and television networks were hesitant to air women's fights. But with every bout, every victory, and every hard-fought battle, female boxers proved they were here to stay. A significant breakthrough came in 2012 when women's boxing was included in the Olympic Games for the first time. This was a moment of validation, a long overdue acknowledgement that women belonged in the sport. Fighters like Claressa Shields took center stage, showcasing their talent on a global platform. Shields, who went on to become a multiple-time world champion, became a symbol of what women's boxing could achieve when given the right opportunities. The growth of women's boxing has not only been about proving skill and ability, but also about breaking down stereotypes. For years, misconceptions plagued the sport. Claims that women's boxing wasn't as exciting, that female fighters lacked knockout power, or that there wasn't enough interest to sustain the sport. Those myths have been dismantled, fight by fight, as female boxers have demonstrated technical brilliance, strategic mastery, and the same raw intensity that has made boxing a beloved sport for centuries. Beyond the ring, the impact of women's boxing stretches far and wide. Female fighters have become role models, inspiring young girls to chase their dreams, not just in boxing, but in any field where they are told they don't belong. Women's boxing has played a role in shifting perceptions of strength and femininity, showing that toughness and skill are not limited by gender. As the sport continues to grow, the commercial side of women's boxing is also expanding. Major brands, once hesitant to invest in female fighters, are now backing them with sponsorship deals. Promoters are putting women's fights on major cards, and pay-per-view numbers are steadily increasing. Fighters like Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, and Mikaela Mayer are proving that women's boxing is not just surviving, it is thriving. Looking ahead, the future of women's boxing is bright. With increased investment, growing fan support, and a new generation of talent rising through the ranks, the sport is on the cusp of something extraordinary. There is still work to be done, pay gaps need to be addressed, more media coverage is necessary, and opportunities must continue to expand, but the progress made so far is undeniable. One thing is certain. Women's boxing is no longer fighting for a place at the table. It has earned its spot. And with every punch thrown, every victory claimed, and every barrier broken, the sport continues to prove that it is not just a side attraction. It is a force to be reckoned with.